Hello, Le Mans race fans. So I was reading Wikipedia. It turns out the 1969 race was quite an entertaining one. This is the car that won it, the number 6 GT40. And turns out like it was being chased by this Porsche 908 coupe. And they were one lap from finishing the race. And Jackie Ickx strategically faked like a fuel loss because they didn't expect to actually finish the race and then still have to do one extra lap. So it's a timed event, I guess, 24 hours. So they crossed the finish line, but they still had 1 minute left in the race. So anyways, he faked a fuel problem, and then he drafted, I guess, the Porsche to beat it. And so that's a pretty interesting way to win the race. This is a very, very loose cover, by the way, so be mindful of that. And I don't think this is licensed at all. It's made in China. It's supposed to be 164, but I don't see anything about Ford or Gulf or anything. So if you have better ethics than I do, good for you. Okay, so there's some images here. Let's compare. I did the review of the black car that won, I believe, in, what was it, 66 or 67, I forget now. But it's made by the same company. But this is a different mold, so that's why I ended up getting it. And also, for me, this car with this Gulf livery is the definition of Gulf livery to me. There may have been cars with this livery before, but this is the one that is emblazoned in my mindset. So, okay, there we go. You can compare there. One thing that I noticed, like compared to the Kyosho, is the fenders on the Kyosho are much more bulbous, which to me is what looks real. But now that I look at these photos, they're maybe not as bulbous as I imagined. So it's kind of hard to obviously focus between two objects. But look at the bulging of the fender there and here. It seems like it's actually flatter than I envisioned. We'll pull out the Kyosho a little later. This is a bit of a low angle, but to me it seems to be the best way to compare the lines of a car. So I'm going to get in here a little closer, try to get this up there. Well, now see, look at the bulging. Yeah, you know what, maybe the fenders do bulge more. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to say because this is a low angle image. But the rear, the roof line looks almost identical, right? But look at the bulging of the rear over the tires. I feel like this is bulging out more here on the rear. The front still questionable, and it might be identical. See the edge of the monitor and this, right? We're really nitpicking here. But you can also see that the wheels are not looking so great. Look how thin the spokes are on these orange wheels. Look how thick they are on this model. So that doesn't look so great. You might ask yourself, where are all the graphics that I see on this model? I have a suspicion this is before or after the race. It just doesn't have all the graphics. I'm going to pull up an image after this last one here. Hold on. Just want to show this top angle a little bit. So the bulging of that fender over there doesn't seem too out of whack. Same with the front fender. So it's really hard to even literally putting this up next to a photograph, it's kind of hard to decide if it looks like the real car or not. Okay, one other photo here I found. So this is it in the race, and now you can see it does have all these graphics here in the rear quarter panel, right? So I think Zoom did their proper research, except for the wheels, not looking so great. So there's one screw holding it, but I'm not going to take it off the base. I'm never going to display the model upside down, so I really don't care what the base looks like. So they do take credit for the work that they did. Maybe they'll be sued out of existence by Ford one day. And this is the Mark 1, I guess. This car, this same chassis actually won the 1968 race, but it was wearing a different number. I think maybe the number 9, but I did a search for the number 6, and it says the 1969 race was won by this thing. Alright, let's start with these wheels that, yeah, they definitely don't look so good. The real wheels have like a spoke and then a flange behind the spoke, but this just looks like one spoke. It's just not good at all. That's pretty bad, Zoom. Come on. You could have done better. But the tire is nice. It's very bulged, you know, very rounded like an old balloon tire would be in the 60s. The Firestone is printed very nice. The rim is very shiny. There's a suspicion it's like chrome-plated plastic or something. I don't know if yeah, it does look like the rims are polished aluminum or something on the real photograph. So, yeah, going to the center knockoff, the 3-globe knockoff. Yeah, that's not good at all. And the reason why is it's literally molded into the spokes. So, it's not. Yeah, it's the same piece, and they didn't get enough silver there. They did get the axle hole, but there's no black in that axle hole. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Not a good effort. It does have a brake system back there, just flat rotors, and then some sort of caliper molded into it. I guess that's acceptable. I don't think they had cross-drilled brakes on this car, but I could be mistaken. Leave a comment if you know better. Alright, well, what's going on here? Some sort of glue, maybe? I don't know if that's a paint blemish or something. There's a little recess here with some silver paint for the hood latch. The panel cuts are okay. They're actually not too gappy, so it's not so bad. Looks like the bottom half of this car is a separate piece, because there's an air gap there. And pleasantly, this decal is actually getting in there, so... I'm not a fan of decals, as you're aware, because that will crack eventually. That's not so great. It's kind of funny that they actually put this white line there to show the door brake, but it doesn't make it look better. I think it makes it look worse because it's not really in line with the rest of the thing. So that's funny. I think that's supposed to say Autolite. I think that was like a spark plug company, but it's Autolerte. So it's weird that an illegal product would bother to change that, unless they just simply have never heard or were unable to read that graphic on photographs. That's a possibility. Alright, yeah, that's the brake company. Shocks. I have no idea what that is. If you're British or something, maybe that's British or French, I don't know. I think they still make wiper blades, and then these guys make brake pads. Okay, so yeah, not the most beautiful spokes on this wheel. I will say it's nice and deep in there. That's a deep dish wheel. And the Firestone is way jammed up in there. I will say this is better than the black one I have, which we'll pull out the comparison later, of course. So there's some silver paint, maybe a little too much silver paint for this door handle. The vent here does have black paint, so that's good. Up here, unfortunately, there's no black paint. Let's go around to the front. So we do have these clear plastic covers, which are nice. There's a little silver paint for that light bulb back there. And then we have the horizontal light there. And that looks like it's probably either chrome plated as a separate piece, or maybe it's just on that black bucket. But it's nice. I like it. And then the clear piece has, you know, this blue around it. The orange one down here. So that's good. So the stripe there... I have a suspicion that's a decal, just based on how wrinkly it is compared to the smooth paint there. So there is a grille texture, which looks pretty good. These brake vents here... Oh wow, that's pretty deep, right? Look how much of that toothpick goes in there. So I'm not even sure if there's paint back there, but it's dark, so it looks good. Tire treads, yeah, they look like old school tire treads, and then you can see the rear tires are much wider, so that seems pretty accurate to me. We got some naked ducts, no paint, but they're pretty small and shallow, so I can understand that. It's nice that there's a radiator here, and I have a suspicion that's plastic. Maybe it's part of the base, which is probably plastic, when that also contains that plastic grill. Alright, so that's good. Yeah, more decal action. See, here are those air pockets. Yee. Yeah, if this is a really old model, that would have cracked by now. So that's not good. Not a fan. And then we have one gas cap, chromed. Looks pretty good. Wiper blade here. Ooh, there's separate metal wiper blades. So that's actually pretty nice for, you know, this price of a model. And I gotta say the decal up here is well laid. It's really jammed into those panel cuts, so that's good. What is this thing? Is this like a... I don't know what that is. It's under the decal, so leave a comment if you know. Maybe it belongs in a different GT40. So what makes this different from the black one, which we'll see later, is there's no helmet bump here. Because I guess Jackie X is not as tall as the driver of the black car. This side, that window's not appealing. It, I mean, it's all gappy here and here. It's like it's jammed in at a weird angle. This side, you know, it's a little gappy here, but at least it looks better for sure. I don't know why that would do that. I don't know if, yeah, you would think that this, all four windows are the same piece of plastic, but don't know for sure. Alright, well, that's 6 number looks okay, I guess. Yeah, all the sponsorship back here looks alright. So, what is this circle? I can't tell, and I don't know what that is. I mean, would a road-going GT40 have a gas cap door right so far back? Maybe it does. I don't know. Right, but then what would this explanation be? I would have to assume this is the gas cap. So please, if you know, let everyone else know what that is, because I sure cannot tell us. We have some, you know what? This might be a piece of metal. There is a ledge here, and it's sharp. It's like grabbing the toothpick. So I think this black is maybe the part of this decal, and then they glued on a photo etched piece of metal. So that's kind of nice. It's a separate piece. Yeah, see, look at the wrinkliness of that. At least there's no air pockets under it. We have the stacks of the engine, and the cover there is alright, I guess, just raw plastic. Then we have some clear red taillights, which are nice. We have some black paint in these vents, looks pretty good. Very round, shiny, recessed hole kind of exhaust, so that's pretty nice. I think these are plastic, just based on how thick they are. And then that's not so deep, but it is dark in there, so that looks realistic. I'm wondering if there's a texture. Hold on here. Not a texture, but they got something. Maybe a frame or something like that. Maybe that's part of the bottom piece again. There are some details visible there. I guess, you know, everything except for the wheels seems like pretty good. Yeah, it's just those wheels are not so great. Alright, where's that flashlight? Let's see. Typical black interior of a race car, so. And being molded windows, it's going to be distorted. Hit focus again. Well, hollow spokes in the steering wheel. I do like how the side window has, like, you know, indication of a sliding, you know, window. Yeah, there's the distortion of molded windows. Looks like there's maybe gauges right there. Maybe 3 round gauges. Hard to say. Maybe they're on a silver background. I guess maybe those are the dashboard gauges. This window's so shallow, it's not going to help us. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I can really see much through such a shallow molded window, except for the windshield. So there's some ribbing on the seats there. I guess that I would just have to assume that's what they looked like in the 60s. The dashboard looks pretty good with the venting up there. The door or side sill, yeah, some sort of texture there on the door panel. Okay, no sort of, I don't see any sort of fire extinguisher bottle or any harnesses. Well, it's not a super expensive model, so. So I found an explanation as to what's going on. I didn't even see it the first time I pulled up that photo, but it's a big red light. Maybe it has to do with pitting or something like that. This is a replica car right here, but still, they're mimicking that red light. So they could have easily painted a red dot onto this model, but they chose not to, so that's kind of lazy. And here you can really see what's going on with the wheel. You see how it's not one surface, it's, you know, recessed and stuff. It's the spokes, they're also thinner than what's being shown here. And there's the center knockoff. So, yeah, Zoom, you could have done a lot better. I mean, Kyosho would have. Well, I don't know. We'll pull out the Kyosho. We'll find out. So let's get first the black Zoom one out here. So what I didn't like about this one, is the hood bump makes no sense whatsoever. You can't put a helmet under that bump. It's too narrow, right? It should be much bigger if you're gonna have a helmet under there. And then look at the tires. They're not sunken under the fender whatsoever. They're like floating. So that's not how a GT40 looks based off the images, right? It should be sunken. So they seem to have, oh, well, you know, this is a Mark II GT40 though. So perhaps I'm wrong. I don't know. But this is how I envision it all the time. You know, the tires sunken under the fender. So the wheels on this one are much better though. They do look more like the photographs. I think these are Hella brand wheels if I recall. And for some, I can't focus, of course. There we go. So see, they have the spokes and then the flange behind the spokes. So it's weird that these spokes are much smaller and thinner, and they yet look much more realistic than 6 giant spokes on this Golf car. So a bit odd. You notice the engine on this one is totally different. I think that's probably just an air filter. And yeah, the molding is actually very different. It's got these scoops on the back and not the metal plate. Oh, so now we know the answer to whatever that thing was on the roof. Maybe that's a vent or something. Okay, well... Oh, and boy, I don't remember anything about this review. You can see a whole subframe back here. You know, the frame, and there's a metal grill back here. 2 lights. Interesting. This is totally different. So I'm actually... Yeah, I guess that's the difference between a Mark I and a Mark II. There's a lot of differences. Let those go for a spin. Interject with a little bit of Kyosho here. See, the helmet bulge on this Kyosho looks like a helmet might exist under there. And then it's got the same like Halabrand wheels, but some paint is missing. I feel like these might be inferior to the Zoom. But this one, the front fenders look more bulbous. Let's see, well, I guess this is now a comparison video, but look at the bulbousness of this Golf. The Golf fenders are much shallower, whereas these are far higher than the middle of the hood. But it's, as I mentioned, it's really hard to even tell comparing to real photographs. So you guys make the call there. You can make a decision on your own. This one also has the scoops back here, so maybe this is a Mark II. This is the 66 third place winner. What's sad is the nameplate doesn't tell you that this is a Le Mans winner, nor this one, or what year it ran. Because if this is a 69 and this is a Mark I, you know, but the earlier model is a Mark II, the earlier winner. It's a little confusing, right? So I think the nameplate could clear up all that confusion, but they didn't bother doing that. I'm going to bring up some modern ones from Mini GT. So here's a road-going GT. And pretty impressive engineering Mini GT did there. With this whole flying wing there and seeing right through to the rear. So very cool. And it's a much bigger car being modern. Here's a race version. The Mark II Pebble Beach from 2019. And that's a chase version, I guess, because it's all chromed out, or raw metal, polished metal. This is, what is this one? 2016 LMGT winner. Alright. EGT, they don't tell you what it is either, so it's just weird. What do you guys, isn't it weird to buy something and you don't know what it is? Like, well, most people probably aren't going to display these in the packaging, right? We don't buy models to put them in a box. I don't. I buy models so I can look at them. So I just think it would be nice to know what they are. Well, anyways, those are my GTs from a few brands there, a couple brands. Overall, factoring in the price, this isn't bad. It's not great, obviously, because the wheels are so half swear word. But other than that, I think it looks alright. What I'm really hoping for is a resin company to get this right, because obviously a diecast company cannot. So I don't know why no resin company has done a classic GT40 yet. It would clearly sell. I mean, this is the most, as far as I'm concerned, the most historic American race car in history. Does anyone have any other ideas as to what the greatest American race car in history is? Cobra, maybe? I don't think the Cobra won that many races, or not the pinnacle of road racing. Unless you think F1 is better than Le Mans, but I do not. Nevertheless, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next diecast video.